we're talking about Chris Wilder. Let's bloody get into it. Just lay out some ground rules. Just nothing for you to do. Just sit back and watch. But just letting you know, to make this as fair a comparison as possible. I'm only using stats from the 18-19 season. I know. I can hear you booing, but it wouldn't be fair to use the Premier League stats. All right. So we're taking the 18-19 promotion season because we're getting promoted this year. That's what I thought. It just makes sense. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I think we're going to talk about is, I'm sure you'll all have heard about Wilder's overlapping centre-backs in that 3-5-2/3-4-1-2 formation that made many a pundit and analyst just explode with admiration and joy, really, during those Sheffield United days. This particular tactic led to Chris Basham, who we're now linked to in January. Probably just paper talk, but I wouldn't mind it because in the 18-19 season he attempted 1.2 dribbles a game, which was the highest amongst regular starting centre backs that season. In fact, he attempted 44 dribbles the whole season, which stands unequivocally alone. I can't speak. I don't know why I've put that word in my plan. It's a big word, but it stands unequivocally alone. Pretty sure it works there. I've got an A-level in English language. I should be better at this. Basham also attempted 29 key passes that year, which means he created 29 goal-scoring opportunities for a teammate, which is just a ludicrous a number for a central defender. To create 29 goal-scoring, that's mental. And just to add some context to that, 27 of these 29 key passes were classified as short by Who Scored, which truly shows the overlapping centre backs, because it shows he wasn't playing a pewless hoofball system. He was getting forward. He was using the freedom afforded to him to get forward and just slot these short passes into dangerous areas so teammates could have a shot. 27 short key passes for a centre back. Are we getting this? Are we? No, I don't mean to patronise you. All this you can find all this online. It might be on the screen now. I don't bloody know. Watch me language. And also just to show it wasn't a product of Chris Basham being this kind of winger come centre back out of nowhere, which he wasn't. It was clearly a systemic. I was going to say systemic issue there. It's not an issue. It was clearly a product of the system when we look at Jack O'Connell, who was playing on the left-hand side, because he had 14 key passes that year, got 3 assists. Now Basham only got 1, so it's possible that teams were focusing on Basham getting forward. Teams noticed that and didn't focus as much on Jack O'Connell, or maybe O'Connell was just better. I don't know, but I mean, for your centre backs, for one of your centre backs to lay on 3 assists, and for them to get a combined what was it? A quick math. Combined 43 key passes from your centre backs. That's not even including the central centre back John Egan, who, in fairness, didn't have many. Kind of sat back that one. So in terms of what Boro could do possibly, interestingly, as I've mentioned, Basham was deployed on the right of the back three, with Egan in the centre as a defensive presence, and O'Connell on the left, who was doing the similar job to Basham. Now, if Basham does come to Boro, it could create a slight problem, as Paddy McNair has always been deployed on the right-hand side of a back three when we've played the back three. That's not to say he couldn't play on the left. He probably could. I don't know if I'd like to see it, but we don't have a left footer. I don't believe we've got a left-footed centre back. You'd expect Sol Bamba to stay as that central centre back, as that defensive presence this season, or maybe a Dale Fry in there in the long term. It's probably going to be one of those in the central, unless Dale Fry gets forward as the left-hand side, possibly. But Paddy McNair, I mean, if you bring in, if Basham comes in, I'd be very surprised if he didn't play as right centre back, which could possibly see, as I said, McNair deployed on the left. I mean, McNair could even go to the right wing back, which we'll get onto now. It is also key to stress. Basham may not join. It's could purely be paper talk, and McNair might be the guy to play that right centre back. If we do, I mean, if Wilder does deploy a 3-5-2, McNair will at least have until January to prove himself if he plays in that right centre back role. But I wouldn't mind if Basham came in because he's clearly good in that system. Now, speaking of Paddy McNair, he could get played as that right wing back, which, I mean, looking back at Wilder's Sheffield United, the energy provided by the wing backs, in this case, Ender Stevens and George Baldock, was crucial. I mean, the heat maps for both of these players, which were found on SofaScore and should be on the screen for your viewing pleasure, for the 1890s season, as you can hopefully see, show the whole of each flank was just covered by Stevens and Baldock all the way up, getting into the box as well occasionally, but the energy they provided was truly impressive. Although, interestingly enough, they didn't seem to be utilised as constant attacking threats, really, but more, by the looks of things, kind of overloading opposition defenders and allowing the likes of Basham and O'Connell to create the chances from wider areas, which, as previously discussed, they did. Now, we're not linked with either Ender Stevens and George Baldock, and I don't think I'd like to see us sign them because they're both in their 30s now. I feel like I went very West Country there. In their 30s. Joe Gargery. Sorry. Just bloody great expectations. I have great expectations of Wild as Middlesbrough. Pun Central right now. There's a loading screen on my TV. It's like one of the... I forgot what it's called. It's got the Samsung logo bouncing. Oh, look at it go. It's bouncing around, like we'll be popping the ball around against every team in the championship. Probably cut that. So it does remain to be seen whether or not Bowler and Dykesdale can provide this energy and drive up the whole flank. I mean, looking at Bowler's heat map from last season, it suggests he probably can. Again, that heat map should be on the screen now. And despite not being as much of a creative threat as the Irishman, last year he wasn't. He did obviously score against Fulham, and he does have a heck of a shot on him when he goes for it. It's got a left foot like a traction engine. I'll say no more. But yeah, despite not being possibly as much of a creative threat as the Irishman, he does have a cracking smile. And that's got to count for something, surely. On the other side is Anthony Dykesdale, as mentioned, who doesn't seem to quite have any attacking impetus, really, compared to George Baldock. Interestingly, his heat map looks more like that of Chris Basham's, seeming to tuck into central areas quite frequently. And as I said, not really providing much attacking impetus, with 0.3 key passes and 0.2 shots per game. So, I mean, I would say it could be an influence of Warnock's tactics, because I remember many a time last season, Dykesdale deployed, as kind of in the man marking system, Dykesdale would quite often have to tuck inside to cover wingers, or to tuck inside to help, help out stopping counter attacks and things like that. I can remember that happening quite frequently. And Johnny Howson or Paddy McNair coming out wide to help him out, or Dale Fry coming to cover out wide. So, I mean, it's possible that under the more progressive Wilder, Dykesdale could become a more expansive threat going forward. Nevertheless, though, there is a certain Jed Spence out on loan right now who may be well, Wilder may be eyeing him up for this role because the youngster is shining at Nottingham Forest on loan right now. It's almost like if you let an attacking player attack, he does pretty well. No shade at you, Neil. Cheers for your time, as I said before. I wouldn't pork him, all right? As I've got a bone to pick with you, Jordan, leaving that in last time. Okay. Right. Maybe I would pork Chris Wilder. Possibly. I don't know him yet, but I'd take him. I'd wine and dine him first, at least. Okay. And I'd ask consent. Always ask consent. All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, we also can't underestimate the importance of a central playmaker in Wilder's system. And at Sheffield United, that player was the Northern Irish Ollie Norwood, who had 85 touches per game and a pass accuracy of 83%, which is pretty impressive for a playmaking central midfielder. He wasn't just a playmaker, though. No, on top of those impressive, progressive numbers, he also racked up 4 tackles and interceptions per game. He was also key to breaking up opposition attacks, as that suggests. Now, I was trying to think who could play this role, and it comes back to Paddy McNair again, who is obviously, he is very tactically versatile. If Basham comes in as that right-sided centre-back, could McNair be pushed into midfield? With his experience as a centre-back, playing the majority of last season as a centre-back, and also a lot of the time under Woodgate as well, plus what he's done so far this year, if Basham does come in, McNair could move into midfield and provide the defensive cover needed, as well as, he's got wonderful passing range, and he's good at driving forward as a kind of box-to-box player, driving from deep. What with his training as a centre mid and just general De Bruyne-like ability. So could we see Paddy McNair deployed there? Let me know what you think. And then we're just going to briefly touch on Wilder Sheffield United in general, who were excellent at stopping quality chances against them, with the lowest XG per shot conceded in the Championship that year, which should be shown on this graph right now, taken from StatsBomb. Clearly they were incredibly solid defensively. What that means, the lowest XG per shot conceded is that the shots they were conceding, compared to the rest of the teams in the league, the shots they were conceding had the lowest chances of going in. So that could be because they were from further out, they were from tighter angles. Basically, they weren't conceding many shots from good areas that you'd expect to score from. And on the other side of this, they had the highest XG per shot. So clearly they were very good at creating clear-cut chances, which Billy Sharp was all too happy to capitalise on, as he bagged 23 goals that year. So that was just a brief rundown of Chris Wilder's tactics and what to expect from his Boro side coming up. Now, I do have to stress that it's possible that this is rendered completely useless because Wilder was out of management for a while. He may have changed his philosophy. I believe he said in his press conference that he's had to evaluate himself, which you would do after that second season in the Premier League, where they had an absolute nightmare. Sounds like they got found out. So it is possible that Wilder may not set Boro up the way he did Sheffield United, but I don't have a crystal ball or any inside scoop. So what can you do? So I think that about wraps us up. What do you think about the Wilder appointment? Are you happy? Do you think he's a dinosaur? I'll tell you, he's not, but I'm happy to have a debate. Let us know. And also, how do you expect us to line up? What do you think about the Paddy McNair issue? Do you expect Basham to come in and shift McNair around? If so, would you like to see him as a left-sided centre-back, out on the right wing-back position, or in midfield? Stick him up front. Why not? You know, he can do everything, that man. So yeah, I think that'll about do this video. So thank you very much for watching. I can't speak. Yeah, so I think that'll about do us for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and farewell. Yeah, hit like and subscribe too. That's important. Chris Wilder wants you to. If you don't hit like and subscribe, we're losing every game this season. Hey, Chris. What's that, Chris? Yeah, no, mate, I've told him. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was that intense, Chris. Yeah, no, of course. I'll pass on the message. Yeah. All right. Love you too. Yeah, he said if you don't like and subscribe, he's coming to your house. So, and not in a good way. He's not signing autographs. He's bringing hitmen. So like and subscribe. Ta.